Hi everyone, this is Brian Hull with MO.com. I'm sitting here with Brent Beshore in his building, Museo, here in Columbia, Missouri, and we're going to talk with Brent about his recent inclusion in the Inc. 500, some of his other businesses that he's ramped up, like digital talent agents. But instead of me going through the list, it's hard to keep track of some of the things I did too. But I'm going to allow Brent the opportunity to talk a little bit about it, maybe do his own introduction.
Oh, well, I'm Brent Beshore, CEO of Adventures. Adventures is a company that basically acquires, partners with, and launches communication-based companies. And I think we have about 11 companies in our portfolio. I say about 11. I think it's 11 companies in our portfolio.
That's why I'm letting him do his own intro.
In our portfolio right now, and we provide operations management. We do a lot of strategic planning, marketing with different companies, and we do a lot of entrepreneurial focused things, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And we were recently, as of I think today, it's public. We were ranked in the Inc. 500. So yeah, it's been a wild ride recently.
Not just in the Inc. 500, he's actually at number 28. So that's a pretty amazing accomplishment. First, I want to start off by saying I'm happy to announce that Brent is our most recent investor in MO.com. Our most recent partner joined the efforts here. And beyond just infusing some capital into helping us do what we do. He's also been a great sounding board to run ideas past, and we're just happy to have him on board.
Thanks, Brian. I really appreciate it.
So we wanted to talk this is going to be a more casual interview than we usually do. It's going to be conversational. So we wanted to talk to Brent about one of his companies, which is called Adventures. The big announcement for Adventures is their recent inclusion on the newest released Inc. 500 at the 28th spot. Brent, if you could tell us a little bit about Adventures and what that's about.
Yeah, well, thanks, Brian. I mean, Adventures. It really is an adventure. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's kind of funny that the names really serves two purposes. We really look at the communications world, which is really where we get into tech and communications. Anything that's going to help people communicate better as being sort of in our wheelhouse. So we buy companies, we start companies, we partner with companies that are all in the communication sphere and digital communications in particular in a lot of ways. And obviously MO fits that profile very, very well, and we're happy to be an investor. For us, Adventure started about 4 years ago. And we never know where things are going to go, but we just try to do what makes sense. So we go out and actually we buy advertising agencies and PR firms and invest in tech companies, and really the synergistic effects of what we've seen is a lot of these companies that really can work together and help each other in a lot of ways that's pretty unusual in that world. And so it's been a fun experiment, and obviously being included on the Inc. 500, it's been a real honor this year. I say I was the one who founded it, but I got to be honest, it's the team, absolutely incredible team that we've got across all the different companies that really makes it go. So.
Yeah, I've noticed since our first fateful coffee session.
Didn't I just randomly stalk you on the internet?
You did stalk me through LinkedIn. Who's this guy in Columbia?
That's right.
So since then I've noticed, since that first meeting when we sat down, I think you have more than about anyone I've met in my years of doing business. You've got this incredible ability to hear about what people are up to, see what businesses are doing. View that from a big picture, and almost instantly, I just have experienced it with you so many times, seen ways to leverage, partner, or improve the business model, or take things to another level. How were you born with that? Or was that something you just a crash course on over the years?
Well, thanks. I mean, I don't know if I deserve all that credit. No, I just I'm really passionate about entrepreneurship and about business and about really helping people. I mean, that's kind of dates back a long time in my family and the people I've been around, and it's just sort of a part of who I am. And so I remember the first time we had coffee, I was like, oh my gosh, Brian, you need to do this, and have you thought about partnering with this person? And I think you were scared and maybe thought about running out of Panera or whatever we were.
I think I was scribbling notes down as fast as I could.
It's just I love it. Every morning I wake up and love what I do. I mean, that's at the end of the day. I don't think I've worked a day in my life because I've just loved every minute of it.
Another characteristic I've noticed with you as you build new companies, grow existing companies, find partnerships, is you have a real knack or a habit of taking folks, recognizing, identifying folks that have talent and drive, and putting them in a position to excel. You empower them, and I mean that at the truest level, where you put them in a spot and say, go. You really give them the keys to carve out their own thing. And you don't just give them the keys, you give them a gentle little push right off the cliff, and you say, go.
Yeah.
And not everyone has the confidence to let cut people loose in their business.
Yeah. It's really interesting. You talk about, I think it comes down to control, right? And I think a lot of, particularly young entrepreneurs, and I definitely went through a phase where I felt like I had to hold on to things as tight as I could, right? So you want to, people need to be working, they need to be at their desk, they need to be doing stuff. I definitely went through a phase like that, and God, I can't imagine working for me when I was like that. It must have been pretty miserable. But one day I kind of woke up and realized that the less that I tried to control people, the more control I actually have. Our philosophy, we have across all the companies, we don't try to, if we acquire a company, we don't try to force our culture on them necessarily. We try to have shared values before we ever look at investing in a company or acquiring a company. The three values we have are innovation, entrepreneurship, and altruism. We want good people who are smart, self-driven, and who are really going to think about the world in a different way. And so as a result of that, we attract people who don't necessarily need to have this tight reins, be told what to do every day, have such a strict schedule. So actually, for one of our companies, Pure, we pretty much have the most, I'd say, progressive employment practices in the country or in the world I've ever heard of. We basically have no set hours. We tell people we don't care when you work, we don't care where you work, we don't care how many hours you work. We have unlimited paid leave and no vacation policy. Now you think,
catching that back
yeah,
there?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's not bullshit. It's actually real. What we do is we say, look, we trust the employee.
Well, one of the new companies that you recently launched is Digital Talent Agents.
Yeah.
It's a company that we're excited to have a business relationship with at mo.com. Can you tell us a little bit about Digital Talent Agents, DTA?
Yeah, digitaltalentagents.com, it really was founded from this confluence of a few different things. One, I've been out there enough and published enough online, and I've interacted with enough people, and you being included one of them, that we started to see this need that websites need content, right? Cash is king, content's also king for sites. Content's, yeah, exactly. And it's the thing that causes readership, that helps with search engine rankings, all of that. And so we saw this real need where sites were having a tough time developing great content. And a lot of that great content that they were having a tough time with, comes from niche experts, right? And so we had this other pool of niche experts over here. Haro is a great example of that. There's tons of people, if you post something on Haro, tons of people all the time that'll come back that are niche experts that want to be published, right? So you seem to have this lack of a marketplace, or a lack of a connection between these two groups. You have publications who really need valuable content, not regurgitated content farm stuff, but actual valuable original content.
Yeah.
And then you have niche experts who have a lot of expertise and want to grow their sort of domain in their niche expertise, and don't have an outlet for it, right? And so they sort of toil away. Maybe they start their own blog, and they toil away in obscurity for a long time. And then we started getting together and thinking about, we're like, why wouldn't we just connect those groups? I know a lot of niche experts personally. I come in contact with a lot of people that have amazing amounts of knowledge and know a lot of publications. So we're like, why wouldn't we just offer a clearinghouse and an ability to really help make that happen? So that's where digitaltalentagents.com was born. We're still in the kind of testing and formative stages of it, but really the response has been absolutely fantastic.
What a phenomenal resource to, it's as a publisher, to have great content made available to you by this resource is phenomenal. But also, as an entrepreneur, to have the assistance to get published on some great online publications that's a gem. But I did touch on your recent inclusion in the Inc. 500,
Yep.
not just in the Inc. 500, but in the top 30 at number 28. Phenomenal. What does that mean to you as a new entrant onto the list? And how's that feel? I mean, that's amazing.
It's it's fantastic, and obviously we really appreciate Inc. Magazine for doing what they do and helping, really bringing to the surface a lot of very different and innovative companies. But it's a great. I mean, obviously it's a great company to be included in. As I said in the beginning too, like, I may have started the company, but we've got an amazing team that really drives the success of the organization, and it would be a huge mistake and very, very different than reality if it was all put on me. I would say that I'm hoping that we can take that sort of, in some ways it's sort of a stamp of approval, or, that you sort of have made it to at least a certain level to be in the Inc. 500. Really take that and help bring some of the approaches that we've had that really have allowed us for success to other companies. I mean, that's when we partner with people, when we invest, and even when we don't. I love to help out entrepreneurs and businesses in general to maybe see opportunities where they wouldn't have otherwise, and to make connections with other people that they wouldn't have maybe had otherwise. So it's been a pretty wild ride. I mean, we took basically about 6 weeks off there for a while with the Joplin stuff that happened, and that was definitely interesting, right in the middle of everything, to have that happen. So,
would you be willing to talk a little bit about that experience?
Actually, I wasn't personally. The Joplin, Missouri tornado recovery page, which I started, has about 170,000 people following it.
170,000.
Yeah, well, and we raised about the best number is that we've raised about $1.7 million for Joplin tornado relief, and it's a lot of people. Yeah, that's good. Well, we want to raise a lot more and keep the spotlight on Joplin, because I tell you what, for those of you who don't know, Joplin was hit by an absolutely horrible F5 tornado. If you've ever seen the movie, what is that movie? Twister. Yeah. The very end, they have like the pinnacle tornado. It's the big one. It's the F5. Well, that was what tore through basically the middle of Joplin, and it was one of the most horrific things I've ever seen in person in my life. So much death and destruction. I know family, friends that died. We know amazing amount of people lost their homes and were injured, and it's actually amazing that more people didn't die. But we really come upon ourselves to really, because we're in a position, we're in the communications world, and people needed information, and people needed an outlet to help and get involved. And so we were able to offer that to them, and it really caught traction. And so we were up for a 2011 VH1 Do Something Awards. Actually aired last Thursday. It was a good experience. The best thing was being able to help keep the spotlight on Joplin, and it's going to be a 10-year rebuild down there, and really just wanting to make sure we keep that on there.
So you're listening to Brent, you hear about his business ventures, and you hear about his efforts with Joplin. It doesn't stop there. So since the time I met Brent at the coffee shop, he doesn't just talk about entrepreneurship and his complete insane passion for entrepreneurship. He walks the walk, and in doing so, he actually purchased the building we're sitting in. I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago.
I think it's like 6 months ago. Yeah, something like that. It is faster.
But here we're sitting in Museo, which is in Columbia, Missouri, and it's been a huge impact on the culture in Columbia, which is a thriving community. You've got the University of Missouri here, a lot of great student entrepreneurs, but a lot of great businesses here too, entrepreneurship. But a lot of Brent has provided a vehicle for
called a playground.
He likes to call it a playground. it is. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
He pulled me out. I've been working from the basement for over a decade now. He pulled me out.
I mean, this building, it happened through the grace of God. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. We had an opportunity to purchase a building, 16,500 square feet,
great
glass, steel, concrete. It's it's absolutely awesome, and really the ability to offer a playground. I mean, in some ways, a gathering place for innovative people, entrepreneurs, business people, to be able to come in and work together and play together and listen to speakers together. And it's been a really, really great thing. The League of Innovators is a main driver in that, so people can actually come in and buy different packages that include office space here and the ability to come into events and a lot of stuff, including doing a startup weekend here in a few weeks, which is pretty exciting. And really just, again, trying to create that entrepreneurial orbit in where we live, to be able to get the talent out that we know is here. But really anybody across the country, across the world, I would advise you guys do the same thing. Band together, create a consortium of people that are interested in entrepreneurship and have some resources to be able to put towards it, and create a gathering place where people can go and mingle and really just interact in a meaningful way.
Is there anything that I haven't touched on in the conversation that you'd like to hit on before we call it a wrap and start the editing?
No, yeah, exactly. I'd like to say that. I think that for everyone out there who's watching, I would I interact with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of business people. The biggest thing is just stop talking about doing something and do something. And I think that's the biggest thing I can tell people is, great companies are not built on ideas, which is actually an interesting thought. Ideas obviously spark, and having a new opportunity to address a problem in a meaningful way is how every business gets started. But your ideas don't matter unless you do something with them. And so you may be the person that has great ideas your entire life, and you can't ever figure out why you're not successful, whatever that means to you. And I would say that you should do something. That's the whole thing with Startup Weekend, right? It's 54 hours. You start a business. What are you going to do in 54 hours? Yeah. Most people you watch some TV, you do a little work, you play with your family. Take 54 hours out of your life, even if it's not a Startup Weekend. Just take 54 hours and do something. Yeah. Start something. Interact with people in a meaningful way. That's I guess, my biggest thing. So.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Brent, for joining us. Brent Beshore. We're out of his building, Museo in Columbia, Missouri, and this has been fun.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Brian.